All right, I think we are live, and you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, everybody? Gene Berardelli, and I think Ross Galloway is with us. Can you hear me, man? I
I
don't
can
think
hear
he
you
can
loud
hear
and
me.
clear. How about me?
Oh my God, I can finally hear you. I didn't think I could. Uh, what the hell just happened? We were backstage for the last 2 minutes trying to figure out why you had a lag, and now you don't have a lag.
It's always me. It's always got to be me having the leg. It can never be you.
Yeah, well, I literally just went, screw it, let's do it live and see what happens. There's a little bit of a delay, but I can deal with it. Got a big show to talk about here. There was chaos, basically, in the House of Representatives today with Pam Bondi appearing before the House Judiciary Committee. But before we get to all that, bro, I'm a little pissed off today. I'm in a little bit of a mood. I gotta be honest with you. It's not great. I'm in a mood because I'm getting sick and tired of people taking my kindness for weakness when it comes to any sort of political discussion. Like, people can come at me with things, but if I talk back, it's a problem. And people get all up in their feels about it. So tonight, I'm going to adopt a little bit more of a Ross Galloway view of how to deal with things.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I knew you were going to go there. But yeah, it's a problem lately for me. I've been trying to be a nice guy. I really have been. But I don't know if it's people are taking my kindness for weakness or whatever the hell it is, but it ain't cool no more, and I don't like it. So that's the way it's going to be now. I'm going to be a little more
Was it
Galloway,
something
a
on the
little less
show,
hate.
or is this in regular life?
No, just regular life. I mean, I can post something on social media, and people can come at me, but then when they post something and I kind of like needle them a little bit, it's like everybody gets up in their feels, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, fuck them.
So we ain't doing it no more. And that's kind of the mood I'm going into tonight with the show. So everybody coming in right now, I'm glad you're here with us. If you're in a pugnacious mood and you want to talk in the chat with us, we're more than welcome to accept you here. If you do punch, we will punch back. And while you're here, hope you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. Hit that thumbs up button if you like what you're seeing here in the show tonight as we talk about Pam Bondi's adventures in the House Judiciary Committee, which, by the way, was knuckin' futz. It was just beyond the pale, and I'm sure that you loved every minute of it.
I did, and it's funny that you're basically saying you ain't gonna take. You're mad as hell, and you ain't gonna take it no more. And then you use the word pugnacious. I have to look that one up now. You got me all fucked up.
All right. Would you rather me say feisty? Is that better?
I can understand feisty. Let's keep it to 2-syllable words, please.
Okay, so we are at 6th grade level tonight. That works out really well. Cool. So here's the gist of what happened today. All hell broke loose. Pam Bondi was kind of in the same mood I'm in. Didn't want to give no quarter. Didn't take no quarter. And Democrats and even some Republicans decided to try to come at her. Let me state from the beginning here, not a Pam Bondi fan. I don't think that she came off great today. I think everyone looked like morons that tried to get into it. A lot of accusations, a lot of aspersions, and it really did not look good. Now, before you say anything, Ross, I do have someone else to welcome in. It's your boy. I worked on this in advance, so let's bring him in.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Okay. I was muted again. It does that every time freaking Rick Robinson comes on the show. I got muted. I was going to talk through it and basically let Rick know, in case he missed the beginning, that I'm not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood.
I heard you, and I don't give a shit.
Oh, well, all right. So Got it. Our friend John Lubecki in the chat. It was great entertainment with Pam Bondi, and that was the point for all parties involved. No, yeah, and that's kind of the point of the show here. So, Rick, you just walked in. Did you see a lot of the chaos with Pam Bondi in the house?
Yeah, I was actually watching it this morning when I was doing show prep. I am normally not a fan of Pam Bondi either, but I loved her no fucks given approach today. I kind of wish she was that way all the time. But
Ross, your
maybe
thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm exactly the same way. I've never been a big fan of Pam, to be honest. She's like been a talking head on Sean Hannity for the past 10 years. Right? Like, she's okay. Like, this might sound crazy, but I was a Matt Gaetz guy. Like, I really wanted Matt Gaetz to be involved more with the Department of Justice and what I thought was going to be a vengeance tour in this administration. Right? So Pam is doing a decent job as far as Republicans go, but I still have not gotten any vengeance yet.
I don't think you're going to get any, to be perfectly honest with you. All right, so here's my thesis where I'm coming from. I think, it'll make for a good show tonight. Pam Bondi did not come off well today. She came off as arrogant. She came off with an agenda, and so did the Democrats. She was no better than them. As you see in my little subheading there, they're all dumb. They're all idiots. They're all morons. Pam Bondi had an opportunity to bring substance, and she didn't. And I think she got down in the mud with the pigs, and everybody got dirty from this. Who wants to disagree with me? I'm ready for you. Let's go.
Well, I mean, did she get dirty with the pigs? No. I mean, these people are disgraceful, starting with Thomas Massie, quote unquote Republican, and then work your way down the rest of the Democrats there. Because I do want to just say this before we get into any videos or anything. The DOJ was controlled by the Democratic Party from 2008 to 2016, and then again from 2020 to 2024, right? So where were they? Where have they been on this issue going back to at least 2008? A single one of them say we should release the full unredacted contents of the Anthony Weiner laptop, right? Never. I still don't hear them saying that. And why is that?
No, and I get that. We have a commenter I put up while you were talking, Professor Hoodoo, saying that Bondi was horrid, Massie is a hero. Rick, I'll let you weigh in, and then we're going to look at Massie's clip here. So what are your thoughts? Who was horrid? Who was a hero?
Well, I mean, I have had really mixed feelings about Massie lately, so I will take umbrage with him being a hero thing. I didn't expect anything more from Bondi than what she did today, because I, for one, have been waiting for Republicans to start punching Democrats in the face, because it needs to start happening. So I'm kind of happy that the few times that they tried to get her with gotcha moments, she just said, I'm not putting up with any of that today. If you want to ask me questions, I'll answer the questions, but we're not doing this gotcha stuff. And I love the fact that they were all griping about how they only had 5 minutes and they spent 4 minutes and 30 seconds expounding on whatever, then gave her 30 seconds to answer, then talked over her 30 seconds while she was trying to answer. It was just all retarded kabuki theater. So, I mean, I'm kind of glad that she just got up in everybody's faces, because it's all fucking pointless.
No, and I get that. And ultimately, it's us who suffers from the outcome of these hearings. And we're going to get to the clip of Massie and Pam Bondi. Professor Hoodoo asks, Massie wants the truth, yes or no? Well, let me say this about Thomas Massie.
Wants to film it.
I think Thomas Massie wants what any other politician wants, and that's re-election. I mean, have you seen the glow up that Thomas Massie has had since the passing of his wife? And listen, I'm very sympathetic, and I feel horrible that it happened. He has all my sympathy for that. But since then, he's been able to get himself back together. He's grown a beard. He's got contact lenses on now. He's striking a more bella figura, as they say in my culture. enough talking about it. Let's be about it. Here's the full exchange with Thomas Massey, and let's go from here. By the way, Rick, once I put this up, if you want me to stop at any point, let me know. All right?
Sure.
From the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did.
Now let's talk about this for a second, Rick, as we're waiting for Ross to jump back in and reboot and see where he's at. You want all the files and you want to protect victims, and I get all that. But you can't just send an email out saying, please redact these names. I think you need to verify that they're victims. And if you are a victim, you don't want to be involved in that release, I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to take Thomas Massey's statement saying that this was done, because of incompetence, or maybe it was done purposefully or whatever. Was there a verification process for these victims? We'll never know, because these hearings break down into attacks and backstabbing and the pugnacious nature of what these are. Obviously, you're not going to get Pam Bondi to say that something went wrong. She's the head of the agency.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. We'll never know, because instead of actually, trying to converse with one another, everybody's all about trying to score their soundbite moments. Even Massey during this exchange was all about the sound bites, because that's all I've seen today is this clip where he's pointing out, the egregiousness of these people's names being released, which, yes, it's not good that this happened, but you can't be one of the ones screaming to release everything and then get mad when they accidentally release things that you didn't actually want released when you were screaming to tell them to release everything.
And let's talk about the magnitude of the release. It's a lot of it was millions and millions of pages.
Millions of pages.
And this is an email that clearly, if it was supposed to be redacted, which again, these, many Epstein victims have been out in public press conferences making public statements, but they don't want to have their name associated with it. There were people in the gallery who stood up to be counted as people who were victimized. Did they want their name protected because one lawyer said so? I'm not so sure about that. But because we're getting only conclusory statements from Thomas Massey, I can't say for sure here. Now, let's be clear. If someone wanted their name redacted and they made a request to DOJ to do so, then that should have been respected. As a lawyer, if I'm representing someone, I would ensure that that happens. Where is this lawyer? And yes, I agree that it is indeed their right to be protected if they so choose to be. The default position should be what the victim wants. I agree with that. But there were many victims that are out there publicly. So what are we supposed to do with that? And that's kind of where I'm at with Thomas Massey. It's all conclusory, and I don't know where to stand. My whole thing is that victims get the final say. And if this was a screw up, then yes, it's a big screw up. Certainly. I'm talking a lot here. Let's get back to the call. Go ahead. You go first, though.
No, I was going to say, I think that's the part that we're all missing. And somebody said this in the chat. The victims have the ability to say who attacked them at any time. So yes, if these were names that shouldn't be released, this should be something that the individual victims now take up with the DOJ and be like, why did you bring my name into this when I'm a victim? You're supposed to protect me. So they have mechanisms. So this to me is nothing but grandstanding, because again, all he's doing is putting all these names that are not supposed to have ever been listed in the first place up on a big board so everybody can see them yet again, so he can say, why did you do this?
Well, to Massey's credit, he did redact the names and he showed how they work. We're getting some questions in the chat. First of all, you got the generic Trump is a bad person. Actually, these files prove that he's not, but hey, believe whatever you want. And why did Cash say there was no case? Cash Patel talking about what it takes to build a case. There's a difference between information in a file versus evidence. And we're going to get to that as we go through the show here. Let me see if and when Galloway comes in, if he wants to say something, but I want to continue on with the clip.
And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next.
Before we go on, Ross, you with us or what? Oh, here we go again. He's not with us. We're going to continue on.
Document I want to show you. That was in the title, the victims, survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking. Co-conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking.
Now let's talk about this exclusion of Wessner in the list of co-conspirators. If it is indeed true what Massey's saying, and this guy is involved in this for the trafficking aspect of it, there were several attorney generals involved with this that had a hand in the investigation. Why are we coming down on the attorney general who's been around for a year about that? And while she inherits a lot of this information, she could have done her own thing. And I agree with Professor Hoodoo that Les Wexner may be so dirty. But instead of asking what happened in the process of investigating Wexner, he lays it all at the feet of Pam Bondi, who's been around for a little over a year, when the investigation was going on since even before the Biden administration, was going on during the previous Trump administration. So how do we parse out who did what here?
I don't think we can. That's part of the problem. This has been an ongoing thing for so long, and there's been differences in how the information's been handled depending on which side is in charge. And I think that's one of the best points that Pam Bondi made today is, where were these questions for Mayor Garland? Why did nobody ever ask these questions of Mayor Garland? You guys have me on the hot seat up here. You guys had control of all of this stuff for 2 years. Why were you not looking for those answers then, since this is so important to you now? And again, I want all of it to come out. I don't care what the letters are beside their name. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they pretend. If they've done bad things to people and bad things with children, then we need to find out. We need to figure out a way to clean house. But this grand,
you know what? I'll go one further. If this happened under Merrick Garland's watch, he's to blame. If it happened under Bill Barr's watch, he's to blame. If it happened under what's his name, the feckless one that was originally appointed Attorney General in the first Trump administration, before Bill Barr, he was former senator.
Damn it, I can't think of his name, but
yeah, if it was that guy too, he should be involved. If it was Alex Acosta, he should be blamed as well.
I was thinking Christopher Wray, but I think that was FBI. So
no, that's FBI. But listen, if he was the one investigating, absolutely. So there's a lot of questions here, and Lubecki is right. Epstein passed away in 2019. We need to know what replaced it. We need to know more than just what Pam Bondi may have done with redactions, is my point here. Because maybe things were put together. Maybe the label co-conspirator was put on there by Pam Bondi. We don't know who put it on there. We need to know more. I'm checking to see if Ross is able to come back on, but let's keep going with the clip here.
And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need, that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see. because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you.
And before we get to those questions, Professor Hoodoo comes through. Jeff Sessions. That's the name we couldn't get. Thank you very much for that contribution. I feel like, old timer's disease comes on sometimes. Thank you very much, Professor Hoodoo, for your response there. What does Thomas Massie know what's under any redaction? He's surmising, but there may be other materials there that can't be released. So why not put into your legislation, put all this information into a SCIF and let us look at it privately without our phones together, and let's get to the bottom of what's behind those redactions. Instead, he's trying to call out Pam Bondi on the carpet, again, Attorney General for a little over a year, and trying to make it seem nefarious that there's alleged over-redaction. You should have had your legislation set up in a SCIF, allow for members of Congress to view it in the SCIF, and then we'd know for sure, and you wouldn't have to grandstand.
Yeah, but he can't. If he did that, he wouldn't be able to grandstand and fundraise like he's been doing this entire time.
Absolutely right. Ross, you there with us now?
Yeah, can you guys hear me good now?
Nope.
We got you.
Yeah, now we can hear you. It's like a little bit of a delay, but it's good enough to live with. Because you've been silenced on this topic, let me know what you're thinking. By the way, we forgot about Jeff Sessions in there, and I appreciate the chat popping in there. But I want to know your thoughts about what you've heard from Massie thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been following along. I could hear you guys the whole time. I agree. Listen, there were 7 million plus documents, right, with a bunch still to go. Most people on this chat, most Americans have not ever read a 500-page book. They cannot comprehend what 7 million pages are like. And these people were under immense pressure and still are to get these files out there, right? And then you have morons like, I'll put Massie aside for a second. I don't know if you have a clip of Lauren Boebert in the queue, a GED graduate in her own right, talking about she's read some of the unredacted files at the DOJ, and the stuff is atrocious what she's read. What she read was these anonymous tip lines and emails from Epstein to himself, right? This is a fucking mess. We've talked about this for several shows now. There is no way to put out a list, the entire file without screwing this up, right? Because first of all, there are people who are claiming they are victims, right? And then all these other people that were just named that were never convicted of a crime. They were never even indicted, right? So like I said this a couple of shows ago and I got some heat for it. But if George Bush is being accused of a satanic ritual in which he ate the intestines of a person after raping a man, right? Like, how does that get released with his name not redacted too, right? Like, how does the person making the accusation, which is absurd on its face, his name gets redacted, but George Bush, who I'm no fan of, his name makes the file? Like, how is that right?
No, and I get that. And for those of you out there, we're not taking up for people who are bad people. Let's start with that. We're sticking up for people who may have been mentioned in these files who have no association with Epstein. There are secondhand associations. How do we know this? Because we reviewed the files and there are people in there that have no connection to it that we personally know, whose names could get dragged through the mud because of guilt by association. So when we talk about redactions and the reason behind them, a House committee hearing is not the place to talk about it. You want to go into a SCIF and go line by line, what is this redaction, what is that redaction? Then do that. In fact, I encourage people to do that.
So, because Ross brought up a great point about the number of pages that we're talking about, just for fun, I fed something into my little digital assistant. So if we're talking about the standard 8.5 by 11 paper, the printer paper, and you lay it end to end on the 11-inch side, 7 million pages would encompass 1,215 miles.
Yeah, it's a lot. It certainly is a lot.
And just put a finer point on this, right? You're talking about attorneys that are reviewing these files to put redactions into them, right? A lot of these attorneys probably did not even work for the DOJ within the last couple of years, right? So when you're looking at emails between people, referencing other people, inviting girls to parties, right? How do you know who's a supposed victim who's a supposed perpetrator, who's just some guy that he emailed about a real estate deal, right? They don't know. And to rush them to get 7 million plus documents out and to keep putting pressure on them is asinine, right? You're asking for this chaos, and Massey's dumbass got what he demanded. Chaos.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
And now he's fundraising off of it. That's the part that pisses me off.
Absolutely.
He's demanding the chaos, he's pushing for it, and now he's fundraising off of it.
I want to get
And
to
by
this
the way, for
comment.
you Massey fans out there, Massey voted against a rule to advance the Save America Act, which would stop illegals from voting in our elections today. Right? He did that today. He claims he's like Rand Paul, where they take this holier than thou stance. He's the only Republican to join every Democrat to try to stop the advancement of the Save America Act. He then turned around and voted for the actual law when it passed that rules vote. But this is the kind of guy we're dealing with, and this is your hero on the left, and even some morons on the right.
He also voted today to repeal Trump's tariffs against Canada, but that's a whole other show for a whole other time. I want to get to this comment that I've had on the screen for a while from Only Frenchie, because I asked Only Frenchie to explain why they feel like the administration's in trouble with these files, and this is the response I got. It's for explanation. Redacted files that don't need to be redacted. Everything needs to be unredacted, period. The way the DOJ has handled this is a straight fumble. Thank you for your comment. Hope you decide to subscribe. We like talking to people that we disagree with. As an attorney, I can tell you right now what you want is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. There are all kinds of rules, especially when it comes to litigation. If these files were to be out there, there's all kinds of rules in criminal law when it comes to information that is done as part of an investigation. Imagine being someone who is mentioned in these files and you have the stain of Jeffrey Epstein on you, no pun intended. Can you not now sue the government for putting out your name if you had nothing to do with it? That's just one reason why you redact. Professor Hood is saying that if not for Massey, you'd have no show today. I'd always have a show today. The topic may be different, but the show would still be around. But I take your point.
Hey, Gene,
I think
on
not
that
for a lot of people, we wouldn't have a show today, but I digress.
On that
Right.
stain of Epstein comment, I rarely ever do this on anybody else's show, but you've earned one. Giggity, 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 giggity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Back to the clip, because we got a lot of clips to get through here.
Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer.
And that's a running theme throughout the entire day here. Let's talk about how these committee hearings, whether they're run by Republicans or Democrats, are run. The committee members control the time, and therefore, because their time is limited, they have to talk more than everybody else. And if they see they're not getting an answer that they want, then they're going to interrupt, and it shows a disregard for any responsive information they could get from any witness. Happens when there's a Republican and a Democrat, Republican. This is rare to see with Republican and Republican, and I guarantee you Galloway is going to tell me there's no such thing as a Republican and Republican in this matchup because he doesn't think Massey is a Republican. But that being said, keep an eye on this because you're going to ask a question, and then when she starts answering a question, nobody wants to hear the answer she wants to give because she gets to choose how to answer a question. Back to the clip.
We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr. Chairman. This isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
All right,
Kentucky.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
because I
may I
have
give
another
my answer
question.
on that?
If-
This is
Here's
a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next question.
it's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked.
Chairman, it's my time. Massey's not interested in the response from Pam Bondi, Galloway.
Oh, he's not.
Ross, you with me or no?
Yeah, can you hear me still? I'm having like
Yeah.
issues
You're
here.
good.
Yeah, so what I don't understand, man, is first of all, like, okay, a co-conspirator. How do you define that, right? That's in an investigatory document. That's in an FBI note somewhere. The guy will do these things. But where is this the new standard? Is what I want to ask anybody in our chat that is pro releasing everything unredacted. Is this the new standard? Is every investigation involving anyone going forward, whether they're charged or not, now subject to the scrutiny of just being made public to everyone? Because if it is, like, I want to know that going forward, right? Because now any campaign I work on in the future, instead of doing opposition research, we'll just take them to court or try to get a local legislature or even Congress to pass a bill to release an investigation into this guy, whether he was the subject or not. Even if he was just, an ancillary person within the investigation, I want it released in full, unredacted from now on. Is that the new standard?
It's a very good question to ask. I just want to address Professor Hoodoo here for this comment, because there's other ones out there as well saying that, well, Pam Bondi just wants to deflect and burn his time. And I'll agree with you on that. It seems like this is the system that is set up for that. So they want to grandstand and ask that questions. The witness wants to burn through time from adverse questioners. I get it. So we all agree that this is the worst forum ever for fact-finding. Rick, what do you think about that?
I mean, I've been saying that for a long time. Again, but this doesn't serve what both sides try to do with this. Each side wants to be able to score their social media their snippets. They want to be able to put little clips in emails and say, this is what I did today, and I need your help to be able to keep doing those things. So send me $5, send me $10. Because if they really wanted the answers, if Massey really wanted the answers, then they would have taken all this stuff months ago into a skiff and just looked at everything unredacted, so the people that actually need the answers can have the answers and figure out how to go forward. But they haven't done that. So him blaming DOJ, him blaming anybody else when he's part of the very committee that could have requested everything be handled behind closed doors to give them the answers that they need, and then take that information and decide what they needed to do with it going forward. But to choose to do this instead, just so we can send out a fundraising email, because I've gotten 3 from him today. 3. Since this broke, I've gotten 3 emails from Massey saying, I'm fighting, send me money, because I'm one of these idiots that's on Republican email lists.
Hey, are you able to share your screen and put one of those up?
I'll try. It's buried in, I have like 12 boxes. I'll see if I can find one in a second.
All right, while you're doing that, go ahead, Ross.
Yeah, and if these guys were genuine, by the way, if they were genuine in their intentions, then why didn't they just demand, and they do have access to these things, but they could have passed a law that said the entire unredacted file will go to that committee, and that committee will work on deciding what gets released and what doesn't, right? Because they know it's an impossible task, right? No matter how many staff members they put on that thing, especially on a bipartisan committee, even if the Republicans control it, you would not be able to release 7 million documents without making a mistake in that small time frame. It would be fucking impossible. So they put the DOJ in an impossible situation. They didn't put it on themselves. They put it on Pam Bondi, who, by the way, has to also run the rest of the Department of Justice, right? This is not the Epstein department. This is the DOJ, which has active investigation and court hearings every single day.
100% correct. Let's get back to the clip. If I can find my cursor, there it is.
Ask me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of
ha-
me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and
Okay.
we
You know
invited
what?
you
Share
in.
the video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
these
watch the video.
matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is
Time.
no credible information.
And then they go on to play a video here of Kash Patel and all that. It devolves into chaos because then Jamie Raskin gets involved, and people are just devolving, and the point is lost. Once Pam Bondi says, he's suffering from TDS, I stop listening because I know nothing meaningful is going to come forward after that at all. And that's where I think Pam Bondi loses in this whole situation. It's great to see her go on offense, and people have said that she's been too passive when it comes to running the DOJ, but this is going too far. The pendulum has swung too far, in my opinion, Galloway. What do you think about all of that?
Yeah, I mean, the pendulum has swung completely out of control. And it's amazing to me that our side is allowing this to happen, right? Trump early on was taken out of context when he said the whole thing is a hoax. It is a hoax in reference to him, and this is the only reason why they really wanted this out there, right? And the more that gets released, the more is pretty clear that they can't assassinate Trump's character because he actually did cut ties with this loser early on, right? As far as Democrats go, probably the worst one that's the most connected is Bill Clinton, who dodged, speaking of transparency, right? Him and his wife have dodged hearings, and we talked about them being possibly held in contempt and are making deals to come back in. Again, I haven't seen a single congressman, including Massey, really raise hell over that either, right? So do they want to get to the bottom of this, or do they not want to get to the bottom of what's really going on?
And as Rick was saying earlier, this is not the forum to find out what's going on. This has to be done in the proper context. I think that putting into the legislation that the unredacted files had to be delivered to a SCIF and searchable, great. That would have gotten us somewhere. But all of this finger pointing is ending up getting nowhere, because what ends up getting lost in translation, Rick, is news like what broke this week about Trump actually contacting law enforcement about Epstein. And so far, as far as I know, he is the only one to have contacted law enforcement about Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody else in government has done that.
And that's one of the funniest things about, the big leftist talking point has been like, oh my God, Trump's mentioned like 30,000 times in email exchanges. Yeah, that's because Epstein was pissed off because he ratted him out to the cops.
Not only that, but because he kicked him out of his club, there's us Italians, we know vendetta when we see it, right? So that's what's going on here. He was obsessed. When you have an enemy, when you have a sworn foe, they live rent-free in your head. I see it in the chat right now. People talking about Donald Trump in, disgusting ways here. Great. We get it. You don't like him. But you asked for these files and now you got them, and there's no smoking gun there, right, Ross?
Yeah, there's no smoking gun. And sometimes you do have to question the motives of people, right? Thomas Massey is not Jesus, right? The left all of a sudden loves him because he turned on the Republican Party. Let's talk truth about Thomas Massey for 1 second. I'm not going to hijack the show about Massey, but Massey votes against the Republican Party quite often, okay? Thomas Massey has a primary challenger, a Republican primary challenger. Donald Trump is supporting Thomas Massey's opponent, okay? And Thomas Massey will not let this Epstein thing not die, but run its course. If the DOJ is telling you, look, dude, we can't comply in good faith with this deadline to release 7 million documents and do our due diligence to redact quote unquote victims, right? We just can't do it. And then you demand that they do it, right? And why? Because it's bad for the Trump administration. That's his lens that he's looking through. The guy is not a good guy. No matter what people in the chat think or what Democrats now all of a sudden love Thomas Massey. No way.
Well, when it comes to politics, it's cult of personality. I wanted to put this comment up by Camila Jimenez. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. My apologies. It could be Jimenez.
Fuck him. Mispronounced.
No. So why the F are they redacted and trying to protect PDF files? Well, how long has this investigation been going on? It's been going on a good long while through several attorney generals. Like we said, Jeff Sessions, Bill Barr, Merrick Garland, Alex Acosta, now Pam Bondi. Don't you think in this amount of time, which spans multiple presidencies, that if there were people out there that they could charge, that they would charge? I mean,
you would think.
Who charged? What administration charged Jeffrey Epstein?
And Ghislaine Maxwell.
Which one?
Yes, Donald Trump won. Donald Trump term 1. Charged both of those assholes.
So why would he pick and choose and cherry pick? And by the way, if you guys don't remember, there was kind of a whole Russia thing going on in that first term as well that was taking up a lot of resources from DOJ. And then there was another 4 years after that where DOJ could have been dealing with all this. That's why when Pam Bondi talks about, why aren't you asking Merrick Garland about this? It's a great question to ask. This is a bipartisan fuck up. Both sides have fucked up. But I want to give you an example and a theory, really, of why I think this is a bipartisan fuck up. Listen to this exchange after the ending of the questioning from Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, a Democrat, and Pam Bondi's response. Because I think this is telling here.
I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure, this isn't a circus, this is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you? None. And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
Yet now,
There
all
was
of
no
a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in
point of
order.
There was
files.
no
Committee will
question
be in
asked
order.
of the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks,
Not a valid point of order. You got to
She
state.
hasn't completed her point of order yet. Please let her speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Jamie Raskin playing Captain Savaho again.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And she
I am
didn't do it.
trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's pathetic that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is
that
attacking
is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order. The gentleman.
So let's break this down for a second here. Reid Hoffman, a co-founder of LinkedIn, is a very big Democrat donor. It is well documented based upon his beef with Elon Musk that Reid Hoffman has been shown, according to the Epstein files, not only to be an associate of Epstein, but to have visited the island. Reid Hoffman basically funded the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Let me say that again. The entire state apparatus was funded by this internet entrepreneur, venture capitalist, Epstein associate. So now, do we call the entire state of Wisconsin Democrat Party all associated with Jeffrey Epstein now? Is this how this works now, Galloway?
Yeah, I want to see his phone records and see who he spoke to as well. Gene, you said something about, and this sort of ties into this, you said both sides fucked up. Let me tell you how our side fucked up. Here's how our side fucked up. Since COVID, maybe before then, but COVID was the real focal point of this, our side became unhinged conspiracy theorists, right? Now, they had a pretty good track record for a while, and I joke around, I say I fancy myself as a conspiracy theorist a lot of times too. But with the Epstein thing, they completely lost their minds, right? He was an Israeli spy. He was part of Mossad. He's running this blackmail ring with prostitutes. Then it was, pedophilia. And maybe it is true on some of those or a combination thereof. But our side is so convinced, they went so far down the rabbit hole that no matter what you show them, it will not satisfy a lot of the people on our own side. And that is where they're fucked up. And I'm talking about the MTGs, the Lauren Boeberts, the bottom dwellers like Massey, right? These people are not smart people, and they're never going to see the light no matter what you show them. Now, should people get charged if they committed a crime? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But should we go after the whole Wisconsin Democratic Party and whoever they talk to via email if Jeffrey Epstein was CC'd on a fundraising email? Yes, I guess we should now, right? That's the way they're playing the game.
So, Rick, what do you think about this? Are Democrats running scared because of all this information coming out as well, and they have to deflect and go after Trump?
I mean, well, I don't know if it's so much that they're running scared about it, because I think everybody within the Democratic Party knows enough about everybody else's business that they've already known this would be bad if it came out. I think they're more going after Trump because it's all they have. I mean, look at this from another perspective. We are now headed towards a third government shutdown by Friday if something doesn't change, because they're doing everything they can to damage the economy as quickly as they can, because all of the indicators, no matter how hard they could keep trying to scream that the sky is falling, keep pointing in the other direction. So they're doing everything they can to try to sabotage it, just like they did throughout Trump's first term. And now you've got Thomas Massey basically piling on with it too and saying, well, we can use this Epstein stuff, because trust me, he doesn't like Trump either. He never has. And look, I am not a huge Trump cheerleader. I've never been a Trump cheerleader. I didn't vote for him the first time. I did the second time and I did the third time, but I've never been a huge Trump cheerleader. What I have liked to see is all the stuff that the FBI's been doing that almost nobody's talking about, all the things that they've gotten right, because everybody keeps wanting to talk about everything that they've gotten wrong. But all of this is all the same stuff. They go after Trump because it's all they have. Trump's not even going to be on the ballot in 2 more years. And they're still campaigning against him now because they have nothing else. So no, I don't think they're running from it. I think they're trying to throw all this at Trump because they're doing everything they can to stop his momentum. Because trust me, the Democrats know that they all suck. They all know who they are behind closed doors, just like all the Republicans that suck know who they are behind closed doors.
Absolutely right. I just want to highlight 2 comments, and then we'll go back to Galloway for a second. Donnie Perez, 1719, thanks for the comment. Hope you're subscribing to the channel. Neither side suddenly grew morals. It's the American people's morals that are demanding justice. I appreciate that comment. And I want to give an example here of how not to evaluate people in association with Epstein. Look at this comment from Tom FN5XI. I don't know if that meant to be a 9, but whatever. Trump was probably the biggest offender on Epstein's island. Let's start there for a second. No proof he's ever been to the island. He says he's never been to the island. And you're using the word probably because you know that saying that outright would be defamatory. It would be libelous. You're hiding behind it, even though you think that he's all this and that. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all freaking stink. So when you say things like that, I know not to take you seriously. And he paid the most money to Epstein, so he ought to be investigated and prosecuted. Yet Republicans are protecting his dirty butt. You could have said ass, we'll allow that. But man, oh man, you just want to throw out American jurisprudence because it's Donald Trump. You don't want to talk about probable cause because it's Donald Trump. You don't want to talk about reasonable suspicion because it's Donald Trump. You want to hide behind words by like probably and likely. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Galloway, go ahead.
No, Gene, you're spot on, right? I'm glad you highlighted that idiotic comment. Right? This is a tactic of the left, and we've seen it like in crystal clear view over the last few years. Show me the person and I'll find the crime, right? You don't like a lot of the people. Man, our side does this too, right? I don't like a lot of the people in the Epstein files, right? But I'm mature enough to say, like, show me some proof, okay? Like, do I think Bill Clinton is a dirtbag? Yes. Do I think he necessarily did illegal things on Epstein Island? Because I've seen some pictures of him in a hot tub? Probably not, right? Do I think he cheated on his wife and maybe had sex with prostitutes? Yeah, probably, right? But to paint him as a pedo, that's a bit too far without real proof, okay? I'm not going there, right? That's like, well, when did you stop beating your wife? Like, you can't just accuse people of things with zero proof. And these emails and documents that are being released are not proof. Gene, I know you're a lawyer and you have to curse the knowledge sometimes and just assume other people know these things. They read these things in the files and they're saying, well, I saw this name and this accusation onto an FBI tip line. There should be charges filed. Like, that's not the standard of proof.
I got the perfect example for you of exactly that point. Let's go to this clip of Congressman Ted Lieu, a Democrat from California, questioning Pam Bondi, because your point is so prescient in this clip.
The Article 2 is and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Let's skip
you
ahead.
You're allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face.
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that we please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
you not hear
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files.
All right, so that's the whole context of this question coming right now. That's why I let it play for so long. Let's get to the heart of it right now.
Like former Prince, here's the video.
First of all, you hear how old that song is, right? That song is.
I mean, dude, look how young Trump looks in the picture.
Just want to look up "Rhythm Is a Dancer," see how long when that song came out. Hang on. And while I'm doing, okay, I actually just found it here. I remember Snap from back in the day, 1992. Just saying. Moving on.
Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
Trump
stop the
to
clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation.
Time.
This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to
ridiculous.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center.
Now here it comes. A tip line to the FBI is not evidence of anything. It is a phone call. It's a transcripted phone call or an email or whatever it may have been when this happened. It is not evidence of anything. Keep that in mind, because Ted Lieu is about to step in it very badly.
Because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide.
And by the way, I believe this tip came in as an October surprise in the 2020 election. Am I right in saying that, Galloway?
You are 100% correct, Mr. Berardelli.
So the timing is kind of interesting. And I don't believe, Rick, and I know you got to go in a minute, I don't believe that this was found to be credible by even the Biden administration. Otherwise, I would think charges would have been brought, correct?
I mean, considering they up-jumped like expired misdemeanors into felonies and tried to tie them into federal charges that never should have been tried at the state level anyway. If there was anything there, they would have used it. Trust me. They tried to arrest the man 4 different times. They recreated 34 felony counts. There weren't even felonies that their own DOJ originally declined to prosecute. Up-jumped, took it down to a state level. Up-jumped it back to a federal felony. And let's not forget the number 3 guy of the DOJ took a downward move to go help the prosecution in New York. If there was anything in these files that they could have used to stop him in 2020, they would have done it. And I don't care about the excuse of, well, they didn't do it because they knew it would have brought people out from their own party. They don't care when their own side gets shown to be the snakes that they are. They cover for them every single time. And that's my pretty much final thought because I got to go.
You got to get going. Back to KLRN Radio on X, at RowdyRick73 on X. And you got some shows coming up tonight, right?
Yep. Amish and I will be hanging out for the next hour, and then we're going to be streaming SHR Media's Edge of Liberty after that. That'll be our closing act for the night, so I'll be working till about midnight my time. So.
Yeah, Sean at SHR Media. Go check them out as well. Subscribe to him on YouTube as well. Rick, you're the man, but I got to boot you because you got shit to do. Enjoy, man. Have a good night. Thank you for all your help.
Bye.
All right, Galloway, we got a couple more things to do. You good to hang out for another 10, 15?
Yeah, let me just comment on those things you just played for a second.
Absolutely.
So I'm not defending Prince Andrew. Again, probably a scumbag, right? I don't care. But what did I look at in that picture? Right, you redacted a woman's face, and he's bent over. Okay, so what is that? You can't just say like that he was doing something inappropriate there, and that person is a victim without some kind of proof, right? You showed a clip of an awkward Donald Trump and an even more awkward Jeffrey Epstein bobbing their heads to a '90s song. Okay, so what does that prove? Like, I don't understand. If you're telling me there are victims, right? And this is the standard, people. I don't care how you feel about this. This is just the legal standard. If there is a victim and they're making an accusation against someone, the accused, if you accuse me of something, I have the right to confront my accuser in a court of law, right? I get the right to have my attorney cross-examine them if they're making accusations against me. You can't put these people into a position where they're being accused of things and the victims are not testifying, right? They brought them in as props into one of these congressional hearings. Let them go on television right now. And they're not children anymore, right? These people that were possibly allegedly abused back in the 90s and whenever this happened are all grown women now. So come on television, make your accusation, and let's really get the ball rolling. Let's not look at tip lines from 20, from the last election cycle from anonymous sources. Let's hear it right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think anybody is saying, let's not believe them. I want to hear them.
I don't even know who they are. How can I not believe them?
Exactly right. I was just about to get to there. Pal. But yeah, I'm seeing all these people saying that, you blame victims. Nobody's blaming victims. I'm seeing comments in here saying, let the victims be heard. Yes, they can come out and be heard at a press conference like they did last year. They can come out and go on TV interviews.
They can come on here. They can come right on this show, and we'll talk to them for the whole hour.
Hell yeah.
Tell us whatever stories you want.
But you know why they're not doing this? Because both sides use them as political pawns in their game. I want to go to this clip from Congresswoman Jayapal's questioning of Pam Bondi. This is political theater. This is standing on the bodies of victims. This is the worst way for victims to deal with what shouldn't be a political solution. It should be a criminal law solution.
The survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand.
Now, let's just say Jayapal had this planned, which means that she met with these people and they chose to go along and be political pawns in her game against Pam Bondi.
And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Not the other departments of justice that have been actively investigating this for 4 years prior. Not the Department of Justice that was around in Trump's first term when the charges were first brought, or even before that. The one that's been around for a little over a year. Again, political theater, kabuki theater. That's what this is.
Well, also, Gene, that was very carefully worded, right? This Department of Justice. She didn't ask if they were ever spoken to by any administration or Department of Justice, right? Because they probably were. And if their allegations were not deemed credible or there was no proof, I don't know what else people want to happen. I just don't get it.
Absolutely.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Say it. Go ahead and say it. It's the stupidest grandstanding thing I've ever seen. Go ahead.
It is so idiotic. Congress put her in this situation to release these files, right? If they're on television right now, great. Let them testify. Put them up on the desk. Give them a microphone. Let's hear their story. I'd love to hear one of them, right? I haven't heard any. There's people in the chat right now saying, oh, I think some of them did come forward. Okay, like who? Name a name. Right, I can tell you the guys who were accused. I can't name a name of a victim except Jufrey, right? And by the way, most of them, if not all of them, and I'm going to go on a limb and say more likely than not, the vast majority of them were abused by Jeffrey Epstein himself, right? This was a sick fetish that he had, a sex addiction, and he did lots of dumb things, right? But as far as tying them to these other men, if they're paid prostitutes, which a lot of them were, I'm not saying those women there, but a lot of the women on the island and at these parties were simply paid prostitutes. Those are not fucking victims, man. You can't just lump them all in and then you're going to redact prostitutes' names? Russian prostitutes. We're going to redact those names, but we're going to put the men's names who were there at the parties. That makes sense to everybody in the chat?
Doesn't make sense to me at all. If you're a victim and you want to be heard, I'm ready to hear everything. I want
Are paid prostitutes victims? I'm not saying they all were, but are paid prostitutes victims?
If they are underage, yes.
100%,
if they are
yes.
not, there could have
If
been
they are
an incident
not,
that happened.
Correct. So, like when they say thousands of women, I'm not saying that bad things didn't happen. They obviously did, right? Because Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail currently, and Epstein would have been in jail had he not died. Okay, so yes, bad things happen, and those two got charged. And don't you think that if there was like a plea deal that could have been worked out, if they would have just ratted on a bunch of people, they would have done that? I think they would have.
I agree. Let's continue on because I want to get Bondi's response here.
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a
Attorney General,
specific question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
And once again, because this is not really a fact-finding mission from anyone here, it devolves down again. because nobody wants to get an answer. Pam Bondi should apologize for what the administration has done since the legislation passed. What exactly are we asking about here? Because she was late with her homework? Is that what we're asking about?
Apologize for what? Right? I don't get what the ask is. Well, I know what the ask is. They think they're clever because they have like a staffer or an operative write these questions, and it's their big gotcha moment. We talk about this all the time, and you guys talked about it earlier. But it's asinine, really. Like anybody in the chat that is defending the way this thing is going down and throwing stones, like I really, I hope bad things happen to you, and I hope you get falsely accused of something one day, and then you have to defend yourself and prove your innocence, right? Because that is exactly the opposite of the way our system works. And the left used to champion that, and now a lot of people, the left doesn't champion that anymore. You have the right to prove your innocence, according to most on the left now, and a lot of people on the right are marching in lockstep with these morons, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? If you have kids or you're married and your spouse or your kid ever gets accused of something, and I hope it happens to you. I really do hope something bad happens to you. And then you have to defend yourself against an unnamed quote unquote victim and defend yourself against accusations when you don't know where they're coming from and there's no proof. Like, good luck. Like, I can't wait for that to happen to you or someone that you care about.
Tom chimes in with this comment. He's been chirping a lot tonight. Our system is supposed to listen to the victims, interview them, and then investigate the people that are accused and then provide some level of justice. That is what's supposed to happen. So when did Merrick Garland interview these victims? He had 4 years to do it. Didn't do it.
By the way, I'm not going to go that far, Gene. He might have. Like, I didn't read all these 7 million documents. The DOJ under Merrick Garland absolutely might have interviewed some of these people, right? There was somebody who accused Jeffrey Epstein, right? All those women are quote unquote victims. They might be, if they're going to come forward and say Bill Clinton raped me, get them on the microphone, right? They might have just said Jeffrey Epstein did something. We have no idea what the accusations are of those women in that audience, right?
Yes,
Merrick Garland might have had interviews.
Jeff Sessions could have had interviews. Alex Acosta could have had interviews. Bill Barr could have interviews. We don't know, and that's the point, people. We don't know what was done, but because Pam Bondi's in the seat at the moment, after there's been charges filed, after there's been a trial against people, because she's in the seat right now, what exactly do you want? You want the former Prince of, former Prince Andrew? Great, cool. Did they build a case? Is the evidence still there? Are we able to credibly bring charges like James Comey talked about when it came to Hillary Clinton and her emails?
Is there a witness that will testify?
The point is, nobody freaking knows. That's the point. Yet everyone seems to conclude that everyone involved is guilty. And you know what? In some cases, there's information in the public sphere that tends to show that. But that's not good enough. If you believe in justice for the victims, then you have to believe in the rights of the accused as well. That's the way our system is. Now, I can go to the whole insulting with Raskin clip between Bondi and Raskin, but I think the point's made here tonight, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and that, for those of you guys listening, go watch the Raskin clip. That was great too. He is a washed-up lawyer, loser.
Actually, you know what? Screw it. We got it's
Play
a minute.
It's actually good. It is a good one.
Hang on. Is it playing on your screen? Because it says it's
no
playing on mine, but it's not. Hang on. Difficulty. Let's remove it from screen and put it back up again.
How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, You showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
the time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very
Reclaiming my
interesting
time.
You can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but
they
reclaiming my time,
indicted.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and stop the
he
clock and
indicted.
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
reel back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
What?
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
As a lawyer, I love that ending there. Not even a lawyer. Once again, Jamie Raskin playing Captain Savaho, this time for Jerry Nadler. I mean, listen, I'm not here to kink shame, but really? Because you say you set the rules and all this other. First of all, you're the ranking member. You don't control the meeting. Jim Jordan does. But you want to go out there and you want to make sure that you stand up for all your Democrats because you all want to get your time to do your campaign emails and show what you did, that you go and you do this nonsense. Reclaiming my time, no matter who's saying it, Republican or Democrat, is always bullshit.
And Gene, what I love about this whole thing, honestly, and I gotta try to not look at the chat because they distract me, but at the end of the day, as we approach the midterm elections, right? And Rick talked about this. If this is what the Democrats think is going to help them in the midterms and in the next presidential election, they're out of their fucking minds, right? Like Epstein is not going to be a wedge issue going into this next election. And for a couple of big reasons. One, Trump is clean, right? There's nothing on Trump. I can't think of any other high-profile Republicans that are even implicated in this, even just having their names kind of dropped in there, right? And the ones that are low-level and probably no proof anything ever really happened other than they talked to this asshole Epstein, right, on an email or went to a party. So I don't really understand what they're doing because the economy is on fire. Peace is breaking out around the world. Like, there's so many good things happening right now that if this is what the Democrats are going to hitch their wagon to, they're in for a fucked up, hopefully midterm, but definitely 2028, right? Because some names I didn't hear in there, Marco Rubio, JD Vance, right? So go ahead, guys. Like, if this is your thing, let's keep riding with this. And then, like I said, just remember you did this because I want everything released. Like, I want to know everything about Bill Clinton now, and any future, the Anthony Weiner laptop. I think I'm going to start lobbying people to let's see the contents of that, right? His wife Uma at the time was very close to Hillary Clinton. I'm just real curious about what was said and what kind of emails were exchanged back then. Let's get it all out there. Isn't Anthony Weiner a disgusting piece of human garbage too, and was accused of lots of things with underage girls? Let's get it all out there. I'm a fan. Let's do it.
And you know what? I want everything out there as well. I want to know about Howard Lutnick, if he went to Epstein Island and if he lied in public. I want to know why Cory Booker took money from Reid Hoffman, who was in the Epstein files, went and is confirmed to have gone to the island. I want to know from the state Democratic Party how they feel about having Epstein-associated money in their coffers. I want to know about all these people. I want to know about the Anthony Weiner laptop. I want to know more about the Hunter Biden laptop. I want to know everything about everything because this is the world we live in now. It's not a world where we safeguard work product anymore. It's not a world where proof matters, only allegations matter. I want it all out there. Let's start pointing fingers at everybody because this is going to solve great things. And while this is going on, all these people out there buying into the Epstein files and accusing people without proof, one day that's going to turn to you. I know it turned to me one time in an election I ran in when I was called all types of different names because people thought that I was anti-Semitic. I think it was back in the day. I mean, Ross still thinks I'm anti-Semitic now, for God's sakes, because someone made that claim in a newspaper. It was automatically true. Everybody is victims of things like this in their lives. Maybe not to this magnitude, but it's buffoonish in every single way when you just believe and not verify, when you just take people at their word and not look for proof. Stop it. You're doing it wrong. And that's where I'm leaving things tonight. You get the last word? You got the last word, pal.
No, on this topic, I'm done. Like, this is just idiotic. By the way, I will just say this because I had this in my notes, right? Like, I think pedophiles should be executed, right? I'll be on record saying,
hell yeah.
But not everyone is a fucking pedophile. Wake up, people. You conspiracy theorists are completely out of your fucking minds.
Oh, look, people are saying, I saw one comment, shame on you both. Oh, yeah, shame on us for
They're accusing us of doing these things. They're
listen,
idiotic.
This is typical.
They're truly insane.
What? You know what? I heard a rumor about Bob 33-3. Should I spread it on the internet? No, because it's unfounded.
Yes.
Hey, look, let me go to somebody else. Oh, hang on. Someone just put up Ross is probably, let's get this out there. Do I need to be your attorney now, pal? Because Smash Broseph thinks that you're a PDF file, and that's published now. So now,
by the way, not only
do we go subpoena Google and Alphabet?
Listen, man, not only might I have a claim against this guy, I think a guy named Smash Broseph should probably sit this one out, right? Like that screen name is suspect right from the jump.
Exactly right. Listen, we can do this all night. It's fun to smash trolls and have a good time, but we got to shut this sucker down. We got lives. You people out there, thank you for joining us and for liking the stream. You guys did a great job of helping gather up people to hang out with us. It was really awesome to hang out with all of you. If you like what you heard on the show, please subscribe to the channel wherever you are. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss other shows like this stream. But for now, it's time to shut this sucker down. We're going to play ourselves out with our fucking anthem, which I love so much. Oh, boy. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Gene and Ross behind enemy lines. We are out of here. Good night.
We're not allowed, so not without electoral.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause we're playing blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw, cool in the chaos, but loud in the roar. But loud in the roar. In this Democrat case. Whistles in the dark, strategies unfold, allies unseen, but bonds remain bold. Commitment to the cause in the heart of the storms. In the name of freedom, we're breaking the norm. Cause we're staying blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw, cool in the chaos, but loud in this war. Feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in the